Right, we are live. Today is January 14th, 2021, one day before our next new feature release, which is pretty exciting. Today's meeting is a design meeting, and so we have a handful of design and user experience issues to talk about. And as Tim mentioned right before we started the meeting, because we have 24 hours-ish left in this release cycle, we do have the opportunity to get some design or user experience issues in, probably more user experience stuff than design stuff at this point. And so maybe we should focus today's agenda on those issues, or at least start there and see how far we get. Before we get to the agenda though, let's go around and do some quick introductions. I'll start. I'm Jen Lampton, joining from Oakland, California, and I'm really excited about tomorrow's release. So let's go to Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm usually in Australia, but now joining from Greece. I haven't joined the last couple of weeks, so yeah, also excited about the release tomorrow. Tim?
I am Tim Erickson, St. Paul Tim, coming to you from Deerwood, Minnesota, where it is snowing today. It looks like we got an inch or two of fresh snow. I got no particular issue to talk about today. Just get ready for tomorrow. So, Phil.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Phil out of Wichita, Kansas. I guess maybe talk a little bit about layouts. It's kind of become a big theme since the last meeting. Outside of that, don't really have too much to really, I guess, add to anything, but just here for the discussion and see where we can go. Luke, take it away.
I am Luke McCormick currently coming from San Ramon, California, where it's beautifully warm outside. It's like 60 degrees. I took a bike ride before. Haha. Nice things about living in California. I'm excited to talk design. It's kind of a side of myself. I've always been like a behind the scenes graphic artist and always kind of interested in hearing, like, getting insights into actual design, like how you choose colors, how you choose fonts, what spaces are. It doesn't come up in this meeting a lot, but if it does, that's always good stuff. And let's start.
All right. So I'm not sure if all of these issues are particularly urgent to talk about today. I don't know if Tim, you have anything in particular you want to talk, or if you just go through the list. I don't know if you have.
No, I don't have anything.
So maybe we should just take a peek. Promoted modules on the installer, issue 3193. This issue is marked needs more feedback. So that one's probably not in a state where we can get it in by tomorrow. Next issue, move the button to the bottom of the database log messages page. This one, I think, was recently escalated to PMC. No, looks like there's maybe emerging consensus on that issue, but yep. I don't know how close it is to getting in.
Well, yeah, I was just looking at it, and BW Panda did a summary that the PMC could use if we need to pass it, but I'm not fully up. Does anybody believe it's getting closer to consensus?
I don't know. I just saw some people agreeing, okay, but maybe they were just agreeing on the summary. So
I think that might have been it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like we maybe need to bump that to the PMC, and Peter did that nice summary, so that'll help.
Okay. Next one is better help text for the layout path field. This one is fixed, which is fantastic. Merged, it's already in. The next one is renaming of the locale module, and this is renaming in user interface only. Looks like the pull request is marked needs work on that one. It's not a very big change. I think there's just, we wanted to indicate somewhere what the previous name of the module was, so that if you searched the modules page for locale, it would still match in the search. So that's probably something that could get in by tomorrow if we wanted to. It's just adding text to the description. Next one, export import tab order. I think this one still needs feedback.
Yeah,
So this is on the configuration management page. We have the tabs are sort of in a funny order right now. There's a recommendation for reworking them, not just by swapping the order, which was the original intent, but swapping single and multi rather than export and import. So there's sort of maybe a quick thing we could get in by tomorrow, which is swapping the order, and then a follow-up issue would be rethinking the whole thing. So we'll see where that one goes.
yeah, but there's no pull request yet, so somebody.
No pull request. Maybe that one's not close enough then either. Then we have support sorting the list of available updates, issue 4575. And that one is currently needs more feedback. So I think we just need more people to test it and take a look. Then we have.
Yeah, before we move on that,
Sure,
because the last update was about a month ago, and before that from back in September. So I was looking for some feedback with regards to how important it is to be grouping that specific page, grouping the modules by disabled, having separate groupings for disabled ones. Do you guys think that this adds value? Or would you prefer something like a filter at the top of the page or something like that? My feeling is that, first of all, nobody will see that grouping unless you enable the setting that says also check for disabled themes, modules, and so on.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that if someone does enable that, like they care about, updating those disabled projects. So having alphabetical might make more sense. Importance followed by alphabetical. And when I say importance, I mean security updates at the top, then pending updates, and then up-to-date modules listed last. Not
So
modules.
I haven't looked at the available updates page in a while. But what I really liked was where it had like red to like urgent stuff at the top and then less urgent stuff at the bottom. So, or even the ability to only show stuff that needed to be updated. Like, I don't care if it's a module theme or a layout or backdrop core. So I would say it would probably be best to group by urgency and not by type. But if we had a way to list whether it's a module theme or a layout, that would be good. So like maybe in the description, and a filter module theme or layout could also be useful for people who do want to see only show me modules, or most of the time people don't have a lot of themes on their site. There's like maybe a base theme, and so having the ability to look at that independently could be useful too. But I don't know where we are now with this page and what
this was raised as a follow-up for issue, and that's all in the issue summary, 31, 32, which did get merged, and with that change, we do make the security updates bubble up, and then we have the updates, and then finally, but we do that per section. That's the thing.
Okay.
So you have a series of security available updates or up to date, and then it follows again from the themes. The same thing for layouts, and then again for disabled modules and for disabled themes and disabled layouts. Having said that.
So is the screenshot in this issue, is this the proposed change?
No, that's how it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so what is the proposed change? The proposed change is to remove the grouping by type.
Yeah, at least reduce it. Maybe, so we have backdrop is special case, like the core is at the top, and I agree that it should be at the top, right?
Yeah.
But then you have modules, themes, layouts, and at the very least we should, remove the groupings for disabled modules, disabled themes, disabled layouts, and then we can keep discussing whether, remove the grouping by type altogether.
Yeah. I also think like if you have something that needs a security update, that should go before core.
Exactly. Oh,
Like it should work like, I feel like there's a page like this somewhere on the site already.
yes,
I don't know.
site status.
Maybe, yeah, the status report where it's like the urgent things go at the top and then there is like an inherent order where like core should go first, but if it's a security update, that should go before anything that doesn't need security update. Just so it doesn't get missed. Because if you had like a layout or something that had a security update and you had all of this other stuff that didn't need any updates, you wouldn't want to have to like scroll for, you know, however long to get to that thing that you actually cared about being on the page.
One thing that I recall, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say real quick for my workflow, at least for Drupal 7, when I visit the update status page like that, the first thing I do is click on that filter to just show me updates. I don't care about everything else that's up to date. So yeah, I think if we were to move the updates to the top, if we don't have a filter, yeah, I think that would be good. Sometimes it is nice to go through and kind of look to see if there is, maybe I'm on version 2 and there is an actual version 3, but version 2 is a recommended or a stable release. And so it still shows it as being, hey, you're okay. You don't need to update. Oh, by the way, there is actually a new version. Sometimes that's nice to be able to see that too. So anyway, yeah, no, I think putting updates at the top, I think that would probably work for now.
Yeah, I also feel like there was a lot of value in having them alphabetical too, because that made it really easy for you to go through everything. So if we are going to add some kind of like sort filter option, that might be good to make sure is on there. So for example, like I use a lot of patches in all of my projects because I'm often working on stuff that was either recently ported from Drupal or, I've got some use case that ran into something that something didn't have. So the way that you maintain a site with patches is you have a documentation file that lists like here are all the contrib modules and the patches. And when you're doing an update, it's really useful to go through this list in alphabetical order, find the module, go to the documentation file, find the module, and match them up by name. And so I think, having the ability to put them in a way that you can search and find a specific name is going to be valuable, right? So if you can go, okay, well, my module's name is Google Analytics. How do I know where it shows up in this list? Is it going to be in modules? Is it going to be in modules disabled? Is it going to be at the top in the update section? Just giving people a way to find information about a specific thing they're looking for would be useful. So maybe, I don't know if this is a table. I don't even know how this is rendered, but trying to figure out some way to give people the tools they need to find information, not just in a occasionally I'm going to look at this page, but I'm actually looking to find information about X, figuring out what the X is and how to get them a view of that information would be good.
Yeah, one thing that is annoying that I keep recalling when it comes to the disabled bit, because it came up when I was working on the merging the update phases, the whole disabled thing, instead of being done like during rendering on the theming bit, the theming function, it's actually being done on the functions that actually calculate the updates, and it actually updates the project type to say that it's disabled theme. So instead of having three types plus core, you end up having 7 types, including core, which is, we need to clear that up. I don't know. Did I make sense?
Yeah.
It actually updates the table that is being, so the array that is being returned by the function that calculates the updates. So instead of the disabled property being something, another property, it's actually the type that gets updated, and it's now, instead of it being a module, it's a disabled DAS module, something like that, which is annoying for other things. Yeah. Anyway.
So this issue in particular is just to remove the disabled.
At least that.
Okay, I think that's great, and we should start there. I feel like we have a lot of other really good ideas, but probably the other ideas aren't going to get in by tomorrow. But I think if we can remove the disabled groupings, that is something that can get in by tomorrow, and then everything else could come as a follow-up.
Yep.
Can I remove needs more feedback, or do you want to use a different issue for just removing disabled, or what's your preference for?
No, if anyone has feedback, because I'm not sure I'm gonna make it, like, to work on that by tomorrow, it would be good if someone just literally added a comment,
Okay.
because we never actually had feedback.
Okay. All right. Sorry, that was very exciting. I'm glad you explained that to me, because I kept looking at that issue without you here to talk about it, and I'm like, I don't get it. So, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, next one is, this is an oldie but a goodie. On the publishing options on a node, we have a giant blob of help text that tries to explain everything. There's a pull request that separates it so that each bit of help text maps to the thing that it's explaining. And then that made it a little confusing for grouping. So I think there's a new PR that adds a group around the other options. I'm trying to see if there's a screenshot in here. Yes.
So what I'm going to do better. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
I have it open. Are
Oh,
we
fantastic.
seeing my screen? So
Yes.
this is the actual issue. So, well, here, I'm actually going to show you this. This is what the page looks like currently. Publish now, draft, schedule for later. There's just one block of text with help down there. If you do that, that opens. This is with the PR. I can go back and I have the issue open too if we want to look at that. And then if you do the issue, I want to go back to the PR for a second, because there was one screenshot that looked a lot more cluttered. What happened? Where did these buttons go?
Oh, this is before
Promoted.
you were showing the node form. If you go,
Right.
these are the respective options for the content type
Okay.
when you configure the content type. So go to structure and pick any content type.
Got it. And it is this one.
Yep.
Okay. So this is with the PR. Let's get the one without it.
This looks great.
So this is before, and that's after.
Yeah. The only comment that I had was that it seemed confusing for certain people. Because that checkbox of show option for scheduling is in the same level as the radio buttons, just above it.
Right.
It seemed kind of confusing. I think Olaf made that comment. I'm not sure. And I think that we discussed this. C tools in D7 offered this thing of intending things, so it made it clearer. So if we did fix that, then it would fix this thing automatically as well.
In looking at
sorry, go ahead.
Issue. So at one point in the past, and it could be the PR has changed since then, it looked like Nate was questioning whether or not this was an improvement for, I think, the reasons that you might have been just discussing, that it kind of spread this out too much. I'm not sure. But
I do. I don't see that being spread out. I don't really see that being too much of a problem. The one question I do have, the current text on the publish now, if you can flip back over there, access. Yeah, you just had it. Go back to the PR.
Oh, you want the PR? Okay.
Yeah, PR. Published content can be accessed by all site visitors. That's given the permission. There's permission issues
Published
with
content.
Yeah. So making an assumption there. I see what you're saying.
Yep.
I think we could specifically put the permission in there, and that would help people who later on are like, which permission is it that controls that? Like having this, I think, here would be useful.
Okay, cool.
Short term, I think that'd be fine, but I do think from a verbiage standpoint, we might want to look at, making that a little bit more inclusive from a permission standpoint.
Yeah, and specifically say by anyone that has the whatever view published content permission, whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's one of them things I'm looking at. It's like I like the short, sweet, to the point, but at the same time, it's like, man, we start adding stuff, it's going to make it longer, and you got to read more. So, yeah,
Well,
like,
okay. I'm going to argue that if it seems to me like there's some complexity if we actually specify the permission, because there could be complicated scenarios where you have two different types of logged in users, and one of them can, and or two of them can, and one can't. I don't know. I'm just to me, like, permission to simply say published content can be accessed by site visitors with permission. Well, that's not helpful, is it?
Yeah, I feel like there's 100 possible scenarios where you could have access control and you can have like any number of things, but we probably should assume that people who are using a site with that level of complexity would either understand that their site is special or wouldn't have access to this if they didn't understand it. So I think explaining like what Backdrop Core does out of the box is going to be useful. And maybe if there is a contrib module out there that does do access control this way, we could open an issue for that module to update this description text if it changes the way publishing behaves.
Yeah.
Sure. I would be okay just dropping the word all.
kind of what I was thinking. Yeah,
Content can be accessed by site visitors. We're not promising that everyone can see it, but the basic, I mean, when you're publishing it, the idea is to make it visible to site visitors. It's just depending on permissions.
yeah, I like that idea, dropping the word all. I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Okay, cool. Can either one of you just add a comment with regards to that so we have a record for it, and then
I put a note on the pull request.
Okay.
I'm going to delete my previous note about view published content. Or visit that later if we want. Okay, I like removing the word all. Nice, simple solution. That's fantastic. Okay, next up.
This one just to be clear, this one just needs a code review. It's marked as works for me already.
Yeah, I was doing the code review, and that's where I left the
Okay,
remove the word all text. I also added the label needs translation update because there's a bunch of new strings in here.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks good. I think that, that one word change would make this RTBC.
Okay. That's it then. I'll quit sharing.
All right. Next one, issue 4563, is to clean up the page title block. And this is just a little bit confusing. There are two options here that mean the opposite thing. And so I think my current recommendation was to let people enter whatever they want in the form and then just update the interface to reflect their intent. So for example, there is a text field at the bottom that says, if left blank, the default title will be used. But there is an option at the top for use default title. So I was just going to say, if somebody leaves it blank, hit save, we just change the option from custom page title to default page title so that the interface is clear about what's happening. And then we could remove that text at the bottom.
Yeah, are you saying to hide and show based on what they choose from the radio button?
Yeah, it already does that. If you choose custom page title, it shows the text field, but if you don't choose that, it hides it.
Okay.
But what happens right now is, and this is I think left over from Drupal, where when you don't put anything in a box, it'll do something different. And so there's a lot of places all over the interface where it does that. And in Backdrop, we've tried to add these options before that are like, hey, do you want option A or option B, rather than like leave a blank for option B. And so this is a place where we've done that, but we still have the leave a blank for option B text there and the behavior there, where I think we could make the interface a little slicker, where if you left it blank for option B, when you hit save, the next time you open the form, it will say you're doing option B. So I don't know. That was just my thought there.
Yeah.
I think we just need help to figuring out if that's going to happen or not. I don't think that'll get in by tomorrow because there's no pull request yet. And we're not even entirely sure that's a good option, my recommendation, but it's there. Okay, moving on. Next is design issues. Better defaults for page layouts. This
I don't think there's anything on that list that's close to going in, so.
Okay. All right, let's skip the design issues section and roll into theme initiative update. I know, Luke, you said you had a lot of exciting stuff to share with us, and we do have 10 minutes left. So if nobody has any other urgent user experience issues to talk about, let's go to theme initiative.
All right. Well, Tim and I did some spiking yesterday to try to see what's needed, and it's funny because we're
Luke, would it
behind it.
help if I showed, do you want to show your site? I could do a quick screen share while you're talking. Yes or no?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So well, I'll wait for it to pop up. Basically, I think what's needed to bring it home as kind of I guess since we're on YouTube recording and someone might be coming in not knowing what it is, I'll do like a 30-second overview of the idea behind Ready to Wear, and the idea is to try to make it easier in Backdrop for people that don't know what a theme is or how to theme or don't really necessarily even know CSS or anything about design, to nevertheless choose from some menu and get enough of a design in play that they can concentrate on whatever it is they're good about, good for. So what we've kind of come up with, and actually, Tim, if you can scroll up, the top part of this page is really the spot. Well, because this theme has a very large header. There's kind of two steps to the process. One is to have a selection of themes that are very, very specifically not base themes. The themes that are designed to be used and can go live without necessarily needing any modifications at all. And so there's a bulleted list over there in a block of themes that basically fit this profile. And that bullet list is actually a variation on Theme Switcher that I wrote I did the fairly minor change that unwraps what was a menu form element and makes it into just a clickable bullet list there. So this lets you select from these choices of themes and have it kind of pop up the page that you're on in that theme. And I think what Tim and I realized yesterday is the other part of that equation that completes that picture is a thing to apply those themes to. So the next step is to make a set of pages that are like dummy site pages and have a bullet list of like, okay, here's how you can see the currently selected theme as a blog, as an e-commerce page, as a use case page, and so I think there's 2.5 things left to get done, and they're all pretty straightforward, I think. And I want to raise this. The thing I need to add to this is a list of the use case pages. So I'm going to dummy that out like right after this call. I'm going to create a list of use cases and fleshing those out and making them look good is probably take some detail work, although maybe we can just find those and include those. And so that's one of the 2.5 pieces. The second of the 2.5 pieces is filling the gaps. It is writing a page or two that welcomes people to the page and kind of explains what's there and tells them the things that aren't there. Things like, okay, if you're designing a site, here's other resources you might want to look for if you want to know about colors, if you want to know about fonts, if you want to know about just some stuff to, and layouts, large, looming large for us. And then the reason I was asking in our pre-meeting things about one in Crowdsource is specifically for these available themes. Each one of these actually goes to, I made a little node page that's kind of like a, about this theme page that has space for sites that are implemented using those themes, and that's kind of the question that I want to know, that I want to ask, that I don't know the answer to is are there sites out there that use recognizable versions of these ready to go themes that somebody could go to and look at and be like, okay, so there's one I know that Pretty in Purple has as an example out there that uses it, I believe, pretty much out of the box, right? Pretty in Purple author. And
yeah, so it might be hard to sort of like automate this, because we don't, like, even if we pull data of where these things are being used, we don't track which sites are using them. So it would have to be a manual sort of like process in input.
Well, I know.
Either by the people that own the sites or the people that build them, or
Yeah. No, I wasn't envisioning it being the slightest bit automated at this point. I want to get it out, to just get some information. I'm hoping to find some sites that are out there using themes that are available to download. As an example of close but no cigar, Drupal 8 came with the out of the box initiative, and they actually include a beautiful ready to go theme with Drupal 8 that they engineer so you can't use it. It's like the exact opposite of that I want. I want something beautiful and pretty, and be like, yes, go ahead, use this. And WordPress has that. Although I mean they're not fantastic, but like the 20, the 20 XX themes all are like, each year they come out with a new, like, here, use this. And I suspect half the WordPress sites in the world uses one of those themes unmodified. And that's kind of where I want to go. So that's my thing. I mean, there's 3 pieces left to go. Content, sample content, descriptions of things you need besides what's on there, just also needed, and as much as possible, sort of like fleshed out, friendly information about what the themes are. And I mean, talking about design things, like one of the things that I've noticed for a decade of being dissatisfied with Drupal themes, and moving into this, is that theme descriptions are so unhelpful. Like they all say, like, you can use this for anything. It's good. It's nice. And the kind of thing I would want to see is like what it does. This is a dense theme that uses black colors, or the what fonts it uses, what spacing, what are the design decisions, what are the actual things that the theme designer had in their mind to differentiate it from other things, like what is actually different about it that's important. And all the ones I always found were always like technical things, like this theme uses the DXJY atomic.
Yeah. So which libraries and things like that. Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
So
would you expect those descriptions to be in the actual theme projects and pulled from there? Ideally.
Eventually, if like this is the market proofing, right? Like if this seems like a good idea, then we can shuffle it down to, hey, why doesn't everybody do this? But I at this point, to to finish this, so I'm allowed to do something else. I just want to have like a minimum thing that's usable, that has a couple of things to pick up, and to as an MVP is supposed to give us a chance to decide if it's useful, if it's worth continuing building, improving, or if we should abandon it and do something else. So that's that.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any thoughts?
We're close. I find it helpful. We just need a bigger collection of things which will happen organically, I guess, over time. And as Luke said, just iron out like the final details that would make this more useful.
Yeah. Now it'd be useful if we're. I mean, we've talked about surveys at some point, and it'd be helpful to know what people are looking for, and what they found, and what they looked for but didn't find. So
yeah.
But before I propose any more initiatives, I want to finish the one that I did.
Yeah.
Is that a wrap?
Yep. I guess.
Yep. Okay, well, I'm going to stop the recording, but everybody stick around if you want to hang out for the demo.